Lovely to see everyone here. Welcome to the Tauranga Sport Fishing Club. If you haven't been here before, on behalf of the President and the committee, it's a wonderful pleasure to bring you the A1 Homes Onebase. Enjoy the next 4 days. We're really pumped to bring you the events, and I look forward to the next 4 days bringing some fishing.
Day one, we got 108 boats off the line this morning. Fantastic start. The guys headed out into about a 1 metre sea, northeast conditions, around about 15 knots. It's been overcast, perfectly fishable, and pretty well day one what we tend to see is a slower day, which was what we've got, and the guys trying to find the fish. We've got 400 anglers in this year's event, so plenty of anglers on the water. Highlights to date, we've had Bandit fishing down the Waikawa Trench, tagged and released a blue marlin. This year, fantastic prizes for the tag and release marlin. Thanks to Bay Insurance Brokers, we have the Guarantee gold reel, so fantastic sponsorship from them. Other highlights from the day, Sexy Beast. They got into some good albacore. Sue Sayers on Prowler, she's got a great measure and release snapper. Invincible in the measure and release kingfish. Much better day on the water today. Conditions were a little bit breezy with a bit of easterly kicking up, although most boats we've found have got out. Still a lot of boats down Waihau Bay, and more boats actually pushing west of Mere. That's into the Legacy grid, and a number of hookups reported out there today. Good to see a number of people catching their first marlin or tagging and releasing their first marlin. Miss K being one of those. Daytona also hasn't had a fish. Elysium further down, again their first fish as well, so good to see these first fish for these boats that are competing in this great event.
Yeah, down Waihau Bay about 10:45 this morning. My first marlin, 134.8 kg blue, only a 35-minute fight, which is pretty good. We're just pulling lures, and he just shot in and got one of the short lures, jumped across all the other lines. Luckily we had no tangles up, and put on a good little fight. Good first fish. Happy with that. Yeah. 3 of us on the boat. Yeah, had a bit of a rocky night last night, so not much sleep. So I think we'll stay in tonight and see what the weather brings again tomorrow.
Good on you, thanks for that. We'll talk to you a bit later. Gamekeeper, go ahead.
Yeah, Roger there. We'll be coming into the boat ramp tonight, and we'll be back on the water in the morning.
Yeah, Roger, back in tonight, out again tomorrow morning. We'll hear from you when you're back.
Well, we've had a pretty good day, probably not as good as yesterday. You can probably hear the wind starting to build. We're starting to get those southeasterlies through. In the Bay of Plenty, that's going to make the conditions out there a little bit tougher for the anglers. We're about 4:30 now, about an hour's time. We are expecting a blue marlin in. That is off the guys and brothers in arms.
Bite was pretty incredible. Took the line, took probably 600 metres or so, and then turned out pretty much 30 metres to our left of us, coming with us. Yeah, pretty epic bite. Fish was right next to us, so we had to do about 20 knots for about half a mile to get the slack line. Good fight. We landed it in about 40 minutes, and then we decided to boat her because that was my first marlin I've ever caught. So real stoked. Awesome. Yeah, real good fish.
The final day, day 4, and we're about to go into prize giving in about an hour's time. Had a bit of high drama on the sea today. From last night we had Marie Atkinson weighing a wonderful 209.2 kg blue marlin. That was been leading the pack today. We've had a number of boats hook up, land fish, and been coming home. One of those was Bandit. We knew they had a good one on board. Striped marlin from last night off Nirvana, carrying right through to today. So we've got some fantastic results, and unfortunately the guys on first class are weighing a nice blue marlin. Unfortunately the guys come in just 20 minutes over time. It's always fantastic anticipation right up until the end at these events. We've loved bringing you the event from the Tauranga Sport Fishing Club.
welcome back everybody, and obviously to the 2018 Onebase A1 Homes sponsored this year. I'd like to give a big ups to Ross Thomas and his team from A1 Homes. Oh, mate! If you can't see it, we'll put it in the weekly news feed. Jono here. That's as good as you get. What's that, a 12 bar road? 10 bar road in the wrist. Yeah, and they've given him the crate to take. Oh. And the champion boat for 2018 in the A1 Homes Onebase tournament is Brothers in Arms with 404 points. This fish came out of Jeff Scott Electrical again. Caught on 37 kilos, pulled the scales down to 209.2. It was a blue marlin of Sansburrell going to Marie Atkinson. Special thanks to all of you that have come back and supported the club. The club's going great, we want to see more of you here, and just thrilled you had a good time. We've got the boys from Peel about to kick up for you. We're going to dim the lights, have a party. Thanks a lot for coming guys, we've had a great year.